before you get too frustrated with trying to get up, let me take you through this little spiel I take everyone through for the first time getting up on the board, because when you try to get up, it becomes too hard. The reason it becomes a super hard thing to do is because they think you need to get up on top of the water. When actually, when you're doing a deep water start, all you need to do is get the board underneath you. Once the board is underneath you, then it's gonna fly towards the surface like a wing with a lot less pressure. In fact, one time I hooked up a scale to the rope and I laid back in the water and I kept the board pushing sideways, which is basically when people try to get up, the board stays plowing in the water and you can put over 300 pounds of pressure on the rope. Then if you get the board directly underneath you and it just flies through the water like a wing going through the air, there's a lot less tension on the rope, which in turn makes it a lot less effort for you getting up. So to make yourself get on top of the board with the board just staying underneath the water, you gotta think about a couple different things. First thing, you're gonna be your elbows. Your elbows, if they are relaxed, are gonna be completely straight. The next thing you're gonna think about is your knees. If your knees are relaxed, your knees are gonna completely shut. So much, in fact, I tell people that if you're getting up and you have a dollar bill behind your knee, which could be an expensive process, but think about a dollar being behind each knee. If that dollar drops, that means that you're opening your knee, in turn trying to stand up, which in turn makes it super hard to get up. So remember, hold that dollar, that means that your knees are shut. If you're relaxed, your knees are also going to push into your chest and your heels are going to push into your butt. Can I say that? Can I say, okay, I just did. I think I said that in the first video. Anyway, you can cut to that. Let your knees push up against your chest and your heels should hit your butt. I said butt. So the whole thing is when you're trying to get up, you hear me say, relax your arms, relax your knees, relax everything, because the harder you try to get up, the harder it is. When the boat begins to go, you're gonna have both hands down on the handle, not the baseball grip. You wanna keep your shoulders and everything even. Both hands facing down all the way apart on the handle. It doesn't matter if your elbows are inside your knees or outside or on top. As long as your knees are bent, I don't care where your arms land. When the line tightens up, keep your eyes looking at the boat. Keep your arms straight, your knees bent. Once again, your knees are gonna hit your chest, your heels are going to go into your butt. You're going to think about allowing the boat to pull your chest over your knees. Think about your hands going past the toe side edge of the board. What's the toe side edge? Once again, that's where your toes are facing. Heel side is where your heels are facing. So you're gonna let your shoulders roll over the toe side edge of the board. If you're having a little bit of trouble with that, think about pulling your heels underneath you. Because what you're trying to do is not get the board on top of the water, but keep the board underneath you. If you practice a couple times with somebody sitting on the ground and just having them pull you up on top of your feet, you should feel like it takes absolutely no effort, and the person standing up should put no effort into it. If you try to stand up by either pulling on your arms or pushing on your legs, you're making the process difficult. Now, if you've done everything correctly to this point, the board should be flying underneath the water. I say flying a lot just because the board acts like a wing underneath the water, and it should glide up to the surface as long as your heels are slightly lower than your toes. If they become higher, it's gonna just go deeper and deeper. So make sure at some point you don't allow the boat just to keep pulling you forward. Once the board gets to the top of the surface, you can still totally be squatted. In fact, it's almost better because you'll be putting less pressure on the rope. You're gonna be sliding sideways in a squatted position. You can ride around like this for a long time, so don't be anxious to get up. In fact, if you see people having trouble get up, it's just because they're very anxious trying to stand up on top of the water. So stay low. Once you can stand up, then you can determine which foot forward you go, either right foot forward or left foot forward, by just taking that hip and putting it against the handle. Now, I don't mean take the handle and put it against your hip. Leave the handle right where it is with your arms straight, and you're gonna put your hips right up against the handle. Now, which foot forward are you gonna go with? That's for you to decide. If you can't figure it out, that's all the better. That means that you can ride forward, or actually regular, which is left foot forward, or goofy, which is right foot forward. When you're going in your uncomfortable direction, with which most people have one, they call that switch, or fakie, revert, whatever. Let's just call it switch through the video. All right, so that was a good job getting up, but now you're going down the lake and you're kind of scaring me. You've got your white legs exposed a little bit too much and it's kind of freaking me out. So make sure you pull your shorts down. Actually, don't pull your, that's not the right way to say it. Make sure you just kind of straighten your shorts out so that they kind of get down covering your white thighs. Because, yeah, that's still from the first video, man. Y'all gotta learn that.